Welcome to the Powered by Iron Health podcast. Here with Ironman JT. You just did an Ironman race like what? How many days ago now?
This is like 6 days ago, I think.
Okay. Do you feel? Welcome to the Powered by Iron Health podcast. I'm Matt Morano here with Ironman JT. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man.
Yeah.
Doing good. We're doing good.
How are your legs doing after?
It took a minute. It took a couple of days for my legs to kind of come back and get underneath my body. Immediately after the race, everything was just like not functioning well. You know, like going up and down stairs was brutal. The next day, your muscles are just like so sore.
So you get like full in-bed service, like people just bringing you food.
You know, the crazy thing is, my family, my girlfriend, everyone, they were definitely offering that. But part of me did just want to like move around a little bit and just kind of like get my legs under me and just shake things out. So the hardest thing was just like going from where my bed was to then walking down the stairs. It's like all your muscles just want to like rip off your body. It's just not fun. But a couple of days, it took like a day or two of just like pure not doing anything, sitting on the couch, watching football, watching TV, shaking out your legs, and then they felt better after that.
Cool. And we kind of just jumped into it, but for those who don't know, explain exactly what an Ironman race is.
Okay, so a full Ironman...
Other than it just being absolutely psychotic. What is it?
A full Ironman is a triathlon. So it's a swim, a bike, and a run in that order, intentionally. So the swim is not the last thing. The full Ironman distance is supposed to be 2.5 miles swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon at the end. Most everyone hears the marathon at the end and they go, oh my God. But from my perspective, the bike ride was the most daunting thing because 112 miles, you're biking, you're pedaling for hours and hours and hours. So that's the full Ironman, 2.5 mile swim, 112 bike, marathon.
I'm not a runner, so the marathon does seem daunting. The swim seems like it would be the worst part for me.
So the swim part, so the Ironman I just did was in Maryland. They had something called stacked tides. I'm not a big boat guy or familiar with ocean tides and things like that. So the way that it
I
was
look at you and I
explained to
immediately
me,
think boat guy.
Yeah, right.
So this is weird.
Coming in with Sperry's on and stuff, right? So the way that it was explained to me was when you look out onto the whatever body of water, you're seeing the tide go one way, but with I guess a stacked tide, you're seeing it going one way, but underneath that, it's going the exact opposite way. And unfortunately, I think this was maybe 2 months ago, there was an Ironman in Ireland. And during the swim portion, they had rough currents and all this stuff, and 2 people actually drowned and died.
Damn.
So I think to be overly cautious and big, like high on safety, they actually shortened the swim for the Ironman that I just did, which was instead of being a 2.5 mile swim, it was only a 1/2 mile swim. So from my perspective, and this is more maybe it's the ego in me, I gotta do another one because I need to get that full. I have a medal now that says finisher Ironman Maryland, 2.5 mile swim, 112 mile bike, 26.2 mile run.
I'm the same way though. Like I would feel incomplete.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I would never do an Ironman.
Yeah. I would never play rugby though. So that,
okay, fair.
Everyone's got their thing.
Yeah. But just to me, it just. I don't know. And obviously not a knock on you because I know you would have done it anyway. Like you trained your ass off for it. I would just, the competitor in me would be like, oh, I got to complete this.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do the whole thing.
Yeah. It was tough because I found out day of the race, you know, we show up, the way that it works, it being my first one, everything is new. So my uncle, shout out to Uncle Will, he's done, I believe, 4 or 5 of these, and he's a savage, but he gets special access to transition zones and all stuff because he's donated a lot of money to the Ironman Foundation. He's fundraised for what's called the Kidney Donor Association. I believe I'm getting that acronym right, but it's the KDA. And he's literally donated a kidney to just a complete stranger. So with him doing all these things, the Ironman Foundation allows him special access to transition zones and all this stuff. So he actually helped me with setting up my bike, getting there the day before, putting your bike in the right spot, and all this stuff. And he dropped me off in the morning of the race, and us thinking that the race was going to start for my age group at 7 o'clock, we found out at 6 a.m. that it was going to be pushed back. So we found out at 6, we were already there at 5:30, but we found out at 6, you know, swim is going to be shortened from 2.5 miles to a half mile. And, you know, you're just kind of like, well, that stinks, you know, like you want it to do the full thing. You kind of have to shake that off mentally. But then because it was shortened, they waited to start. So instead of the pros starting at 6:30, they were going to start at 7:30. And so then that pushes everyone else back. So our start time was technically supposed to be 8 a.m. But again, with the tides, they ended up doing 1 by 1 call outs. So if you lined up basically how you, like, I guess, predicted what time you would finish in, and then every 5 seconds they let one athlete go, and then there'd be a horn and it would beep 5 times, next athlete would go, next athlete. There were 1,500 athletes doing this event, so I didn't get in the water. So the timer was going off at like 7:40, 7:45 for like the fast swimmers, and I didn't get in the water until about like 8:45. And I'm just standing there, like you're standing in a queue just waiting to go. So you're in a black wetsuit, the sun is beating down on you, you're sweating, you're not doing anything. Plus, there's a whole like nutrition element that comes into play. So, you know, I'm waking up and eating and drinking with the mindset of I'm going to be out of the water by 8:30. And now I'm about to enter the water at 8:45. So I didn't take that all into account because I'm just thinking, all right, you know, I'm all good. I feel fine. I'm hydrated. I'm full. And then all of a sudden it's like 8:15 and I'm like, I'm kind of thirsty. Like, this is not a good sign to be starting off your race. And luckily my sister and one of my best friends, Angelo, he was, the two of them were there sideline with me, and my family was waiting by like where the start line was. So, I saw them and asked if they could get me water, which was like a godsend. So they gave me water, and then, you know, then eventually I did the swim. But from like, so everyone is aware, like the swim would have taken me like, let's call it like an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45 minutes to do like a full 2.5 mile loop. And for this, it took like 20 minutes. So it's like, I'm happy I was able to get a swim portion for the triathlon, but by no means does it feel like I'm going to get backlash for this, but by no means does it feel like I'm deserving of getting a medal that says that a 2.5 mile swim was done. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's officially like my time and all that stuff, my name, I'm an Ironman, all this stuff feels really cool to like say and feel and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I got to do another one. Yeah. You know, I got to do another one. So that's all it means. You know? That's all it means.
It just means you got to, you know, I mean, hopefully you're taking a nice break.
Oh, yeah.
And enjoying yourself.
Yes.
Because the amount of training that you did and just everything that you put into it, insane. And yeah, I mean, that alone is, you know,
I will say the training part in some ways was harder than the actual race because it was almost every day, you know, and you're sacrificing so many things, especially on weekends. Like, you know, I'm someone who likes to be very strict and focused during the week and go live my life on the weekends. And, you know, if I want to go out to a bar with my friends or my family and stuff and have a couple of drinks and maybe wake up a little groggy the next day, you know, not a big deal, right? I'm living my life. But when you have like a 4-hour bike ride planned for the next day, you can't go out the night before, staying out till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and having, you know, a couple
that's
of
early
beers.
for me.
Yeah, I know that.
That's
to me, you know, I'm feeling, I'm entering like my grandpa stage right now. You know,
I mean, that's
knowing some of the stories about you. Staying out till 4 and 5. Yeah,
I mean, that's especially after a rugby game. But even like the night before a rugby game, I'll go out and I'll be like, all right, as long as I'm home by 1, I can make it to the field by 10 and be good to go.
God, I just can't even fathom that. If I stay up past like 1 a.m. on a day, I gotta sleep till like 10, 11. And you know, and then like the rest of the day feels like it's gone, you know?
Yeah. I went to my friend's wedding last month, and part of their speech was like thanking a family member, but it was also like, thank you for letting us know that, like, you know, your elderly wisdom of nothing good happens once the time changes to single digits. And in my head, I'm like, nah, it's not true.
Yeah. That's a common phrase, though. I've heard, like, nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
For you, you're still alive. You're still alive. You're still here.
Barely hanging in there.
Yes, yes.
But it's funny that you brought up, like, the, you know, your swim part being shortened, because our buddy and our coworker John, he did a triathlon and his swim was completely eliminated.
Well, it was his bike. Yeah, so he did a swim and a run. So
that's right, because they had a storm up there that knocked down power line. That's why he couldn't do the bike.
Yeah. He sent me pictures too, because the power lines, like, they were completely over like the course and like across the street. And you know, if it wasn't the night before, I feel like they would have been able to clean it up and like they would have been able to get it done. But because the storm was the way that it was and it happened the night before, you know, it happened. Now, I don't know if it happened for like the whole portion of the bike route and like they couldn't just figure out a way to finagle the route to still get some mileage in there. But I was bummed for him because it was his first. He did an Olympic triathlon. So they needed to carve out 20 miles of a bike route for them. And
I guess if it happens the night before, they don't really have like a backup route
there's no plan
in mind.
B.
Or if they do have a plan B, that can be knocked out too from a storm. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with power lines, you don't want to risk that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, I was training a lot with him and his wife Mary, who also did the triathlon.
Yeah.
And we would swim a lot together. So it was, from that aspect, personally, to go from like swimming a lot with them and all that stuff, I was, you know, it was great doing the training, then my swim gets knocked down. And then from his aspect of like, the bike was the strongest part for him in his triathlon, then that gets knocked down. So it's like both of us had this kind of like, it stinks, but like, you know, it just means we got to do another one, you know?
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's what happens when you get people who are naturally competitive with themselves.
Yeah.
Not even like towards other people. That's a self-competition thing where you want to do what you signed up for. So if you tell someone, I finished an Ironman. Like, people will go in and look up and like, oh, you did a 2.5 mile swim. And you're like, damn.
Yeah. Right. So, but it's funny because everyone thinks I did this race super fast. And so I'm like, you know, not that elite, guys, you know. It's like there should be an extra like hour and 40 minutes or so on that.
Where would that have put you? Like, would that have...
If my time was like where it was, I mean, I don't know, maybe like top 20 in my age group or something like that. Yeah, I mean, even that still wouldn't even be like that, like elite, you know, like where I finished put me at like mid-level in my age group, maybe even like a little bit lower than that mid-level. So yeah, I don't know, but these pros are doing like full Ironmans. The guy Sam, I'm gonna mess up his last name. I think it's like Sam Lamont or something. He's a French guy, and they just did the World Championships in France in Nice, and he did the whole thing with the 2.5 miles, everything in 8 hours.
What?
Yeah.
How?
8 hours.
How?
So there.
Hold on. I don't think I could finish a marathon in 8 hours.
You know what? You put your mind to something, you could get it done.
My mind every time I run is, why am I running?
Yes, well, that's a I definitely entered that demonic state when
you wouldn't tell by your Instagram stories. I know you said your sister was like running your Instagram, because there were so many times where I was like, oh, I want to message. I'm like, oh no, but it's sister. It's sister.
Yeah,
I'm like, DM her right now.
She was a trooper because, I asked her a couple of days beforehand, and she was like, "Yep, I'm on it." And I got the idea from my cousin, who his girlfriend did that for him when he was going. He did. He did it in Kona. But
what would they do? Like, would you run through or bike through a checkpoint, and then they would just like move to the next checkpoint, or
so? The bike was a little lonely because it was only really like you did 2 loops, so I only saw them once on the bike. So you basically went out for like 54 miles, and then you saw them, and then you went out for like another 50-ish, and then there was like a 10-ish mile path to come back to the start zone. Okay. So in that one loop, I saw them, which was really cool because I wasn't really expecting to see them at the time when I saw them. So I was like, whoa! And you're at this state of like, all right, I'm just breaking this halfway point. Like you're trying to like really like prepare your mind and prepare yourself to be like, I'm starting to feel like my legs a little bit, and like this is getting a little tedious and boring. But part of training is like that a lot too, and you just got to keep going. So then when like I see them, I'm like, okay, and you get like this massive burst of energy, like you don't feel the pain anymore, and then you're good for like another 10 or 15 miles, and then it kind of comes back. And then on the last like kind of straightaway part with the bike ride, I saw my brother, sister, my sister-in-law, and then two of my friends, and I got to see them, which was another big surprise. And then when I finished, then I saw like my parents, my aunt and uncle, my girlfriend. And so it was cool. They kind of like scattered themselves. But the run was a 3 8-mile loop, and I got to see them a lot more. Yeah. So every time I was basically making this loop, I essentially would see them like twice in a loop, because it was kind of like you ran 3 miles out this way, you passed them, then you ran 4.5, 5 miles out this way, and then you passed them again. Got it. So. It's really funny. I sent Aaron like video and picture of like me doing the run, but I did not send anything from the third loop, because the third loop I was in rough shape,
Every single thing that was posted though, you had the biggest grin on your face too. Yeah, no, like you made it look effortless, and I was like, this guy.
It was as crazy as it sounds. It was fun. Like there were parts where I got to like really enjoy going through it, because you kind of pinching yourself, being like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this right now. Like this,
especially with all the hard work leading up to it.
It was like a little over a year of training, and then like probably like 6 months of like really focused and intentful training that like led up to the race. But you just kind of like, this is wild. Like I'm going through this whole thing, and like it's actually come to the day. But man, when you get on the bike, all you want to do when you're on the bike is just get off the bike. And then you get off the bike and you're like so happy that you're off your butt and you're actually like moving your legs that you can't do anything but smile. You're like, yes, like I actually can stand on ground. And by that point, you basically know you're going to finish.
What was it about the biking that you didn't like? Was it just the sheer distance of like 112 miles? Or was it, wow, this seat's going to be like... Yeah, it's really going to be a pain in my ass.
Like, so to put it into perspective, for someone like me who is probably in that maybe like average pace for like my age group, my pace was like around 17.5 miles an hour, which essentially equates to like 6.5 hours of pedaling. So you're just looking down at your GPS and seeing, cool, I'm 70 miles in, I'm past that halfway mark by a good amount, I'm almost there. But then you do the math and you're like, oh my God, I'm 42 miles away. That's another almost 3 hours. Like you're just you're like, okay, let's keep going. You know? And then you just have to stop thinking about the distance and the time, and you just have to focus on what's in front of you.
It's wild. And this is just something that occurred to me while we were talking about it here, but you train for this, and we're talking about it as like a finite experience. Like the Ironman is, you know, this one race, this one type of race, but it's 3 races mixed together, because people spend as long as you did training for this Ironman just for a marathon.
Yeah.
And you did the swim and 112 miles on a bike before running a marathon.
Yeah.
But I know people have done the New York Marathon, and they trained 6 months just gearing up for that.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Which, I mean, nothing taken away from them, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that either. But like, it's incredible that this exists, because it is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I mean, it was my first marathon too. So I'm happy to say that I did that, you know, but it definitely was eye-opening that, you know, like the run to me was my strongest part. Like I can run at a decent clip for, you know, I can do a half marathon in under 2 hours, which I feel like is like a good pace. And in my eyes, I thought I was going to finish the marathon in like roughly 4.5 hours, just thinking if I could keep everything under like a 10-minute mile or something, you know? And I got off the bike, and my first loop was like everything was under 9-minute miles, and I was feeling really good, just like intentionally making sure I wasn't going faster than that, and I didn't want to go slower than a 10-minute mile. So if I just stayed within that pace, I could just get this done, and, you know, my family doesn't have to wait that long, you know, like, because it's amazing. You think to yourself, like, all right, I'm going to get this done, but I want to get it done quick so they don't have to wait, you know?
That was what was on your mind.
Yeah,
okay,
I know.
Let me get through this. Like, I don't want my family sitting around for all that.
You feel bad, man. You feel bad because it's 12 hours, you know, but, you know, I did want to get it done in under 5 hours. I got it done in like 4:58. So I just passed that mark. But,
that's awesome.
All it means is I got to get another one done, though, because I know that I can do it better. And, you know, my uncle, because he's in the foundation, he's got the KDA supporting him and stuff. He might be able to get like I don't know, I guess you call it like tickets. But it's really like registration availability to do Kona, and he's done it once before. Okay. And he just missed the mark on the bike, so he didn't end up finishing, but he wants to, you know, he's thinking about doing it again. And I told myself, I'm like, I need to take a break from this for like another year or two. Yeah. And then right after the race, he's like, would you do Kona if I can get us in? I'm like, absolutely. I'm in. So who knows? Maybe next October we might be doing it again.
Nice. Yeah. So we've got about 8 minutes before your next patient coming in here, but I do have one more question.
Okay.
How long have we known each other?
Oh my God. This is okay. So
this is funny. I don't know if Erin knows that story at all either. So.
All right. I come in for my interview day. Yeah. And I'm sitting on the couch. I'm waiting to get interviewed by Joan Maria. And I see someone walk out, Matt, and I'm like, I recognize this guy from somewhere, but I just couldn't pin it. And, you know, it didn't click, whatever. I go in, do the interview, and I come out, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, where the heck do I know this guy from? All right, whatever. So get the job where, you know, we talk a little bit about it.
The entire time, I'm also trying to figure out where the hell I know JT from.
Which I was so thankful of, too. I'm like, is it just me? And it probably went on for maybe like a few weeks, and then one day
it was a few months.
Yeah, it was a few months.
It was like a couple months. Yeah, and it clicked.
And one day he comes up to me and he's like, I figured it out. And I knew right away what he was talking about too. And he's like, I figured it out. And I'm like, what? Like, how? How do we know each other? And before PT school, I worked at a PT clinic where I was an aide, and he was the manager of the gym. I was the general manager of the gym that the clinic was in the back of. Yes. So he would have to walk through the gym every day to get to work. And he would stop by, like, say what's up to everybody at the front desk. And, like, I mean, we were understaffed at that gym. So, like, I was at the front desk a lot. So, like, we had conversations before. Yes. And, like, that just fully registered. Like, yeah. It's just so funny. So, full circle. And now it's like, now we're working together. Yeah. But it was the funniest thing because I just remember you being like, I figured it out. And I'm like, what was it? And you're like, yeah, dude, the Blink Fitness. Like, I used to be the general manager there. I was like, oh oh my God, that's right. And then it all came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hilarious.
And the entire time I'm like, God, did I like get into an argument with this guy like somewhere down the line?
That I definitely would have remembered. I'd be like, I don't want to piss that guy off. Yeah.
The entire time I'm like, no, like I don't think that isn't it. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, good. I'm so happy it wasn't that person.
Oh my God. And I'll give my mom props for this. She always says you want to kill everyone with kindness because you never know when you're going to see that person again. So, yeah.
That's
so
true.
that,
Yeah. Hey,
so
there you go.
thankfully, everything was all good. But yeah, hilarious.
Cool. And we're gonna wrap this up, but
Yep.
we're definitely gonna have you back on. I know they might, they've gotten a lot of you. You just did the Howie interview, which is awesome. Thank you for
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
But I mean, this was a great conversation, so we'll definitely have you back
Yes.
on and go through like your origins to physical therapy and all
Yes,
that.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on.
No, it's been great. And thanks everyone for tuning in as well. And, if you want to see, I have all the stories and all that stuff saved on my Instagram. JT Dodge 123 is the Instagram. So if you want to see some of the videos, just follow along.
Check them out.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
See you guys next time.
Thank you.